The fall of Sean Diddy Combs is one of the most disturbing and shocking downfalls in entertainment history. At the top of his career, he had it all: fame, fortune, and influence. But behind the scenes, dark secrets festered. Allegations of abuse, manipulation, and deceit became increasingly difficult to ignore. And Diddy's empire, once built on success, is now crumbling under the weight of explosive evidence and testimonies. How did a man who built a legendary music empire become one of the most hated and despised figures in entertainment? From his early days in Harlem to becoming a mogul in the music and fashion industries. But as his power grew, so did the dark side of his actions. This is the full story of Diddy's rise, his empire, and the scandal that ultimately brought him down.
Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested by federal agents.
Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in New York City.
News tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in...
Sean Diddy Combs was arrested tonight in New York City.
Sean Diddy Combs wasn't born into fame or fortune. He grew up in Harlem, New York, a place full of life, but also challenges. His mother, Janice Combs, worked as a model and teacher's assistant, doing everything she could to provide for him. His father, Melvin Combs, was involved in the streets and was tragically killed when Diddy was just 2 years old. That loss shaped him. It made him determined to never be powerless, to never struggle the way he saw his mother struggle. He wanted more for himself, and he was willing to do whatever it took to make it happen. His first step towards success started in college. He went to Howard University, but school wasn't his main focus. He had a bigger goal: breaking into the music industry. He took an unpaid internship at Uptown Records, where he worked longer and harder than anyone else. He ran errands, fetched coffee, and stayed up all night just to prove himself. He made sure everyone noticed him. It didn't take long before the executives at Uptown realized that Diddy wasn't like everyone else. He had an ear for music and a vision for what people wanted. He worked with artists like Mary J. Blige and Jodeci, helping shape their sound and image. He had a way of turning good artists into stars, and it made him one of the most valuable people at the label. But Diddy wasn't the type to just take orders. He wanted to be in control. That caused tension between him and the higher-ups, and eventually, he was fired. Most people would have taken that as a setback, but Diddy saw it as an opportunity. In 1993, he took a huge risk and started his own label, Bad Boy Records. It was a bold move, but he believed in himself. He wasted no time signing talent, and one of his biggest discoveries was the notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls. Biggie's debut album Ready to Die became an instant classic, and with that, Bad Boy Records was officially on the map. The label had a unique style: flashy, confident, and larger than life. Diddy, he was creating a whole movement. By the mid-90s, Bad Boy Records was dominating the charts. Every song they put out became a hit, and Diddy was everywhere. He wasn't just behind the scenes. He started rapping, producing, and starring in music videos. His signature look, shiny suits, designer clothes, and all the confidence in the world, became iconic. He knew how to make people pay attention. When Biggie was tragically killed in 1997, Diddy released I'll Be Missing You, a tribute song that became a worldwide hit. The song topped the charts for weeks, and Diddy cemented himself as not just a businessman, but a star in his own right. But he didn't stop there. He expanded into fashion, launching Sean John, a clothing brand that became a huge success. He got into reality TV, business ventures, and anything else that could make money. Everything he touched seemed to turn to gold, and his empire kept growing. To the outside world, he was unstoppable. He was the definition of success, a kid from Harlem who made it to the top. But with that level of success came power, and with power came rumors. Stories of his ruthless business tactics, his need for control, and the way he treated people started to surface. For years, those whispers stayed in the background. No one wanted to question a man who seemed untouchable. But no empire lasts forever. And for Diddy, the cracks in his perfect image were starting to show. P. Diddy has been in several high-profile relationships over the years. Diddy's first major public relationship was with stylist Misa Hilton, with whom he shares his first child, Justin, born in 1993. Their relationship didn't last long, but they co-parented over the years. Diddy had a brief relationship with Kim Porter. They welcomed their first child together, Christian, on April 1st, 1998. Diddy also took in Kim's son from a previous relationship and raised him as his own. However, just a year after Christian was born, the couple split and engaged in a long court battle over custody. Despite their breakup, they remained in each other's lives, reconciling on and off for years. They later had twin daughters, Delilah Starr and Jessie James, in December 2006. Tragically, Kim Porter passed away in 2018, and Diddy publicly expressed his grief, calling her the love of his life.
Alright, y'all wanted to know about Kim Porter's mysterious death, so let's talk about it. Diddy and Kim, who I must say is absolutely freaking beautiful, started dating in 1994 and they had a son, Christian Combs. At the time, Kim and I'll Be Sure had already had Quincy. Kim and Diddy split up in 99 and then they got back together in 2003. In that time period, we know that J-Lo and Diddy dated. However, Kim and Shakir Stewart, who was a Def Jam senior executive, also dated. However, Diddy didn't approve. It's alleged that Diddy ended up confronting Shakir and Kim while they were together. He threw a chair at Shakir, and in the altercation and the fight, Kim ended up having her nose broken. Despite Shakir not going back to work for a few weeks, him and Kim still continued dating, and it is said that allegedly Kim told him a lot of personal information about Diddy. Nobody knows what that information was, but allegedly it was about Diddy's involvement in certain things and additional intimate information about Diddy. Shakir would be found dead in his home with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. After Shakir's death, it's said that Kim started writing a tell-all book on Diddy. With that being said, keep in mind books do tend to take a really long time to write. Kim and Diddy had twins in 2006 and they split up in 2007. Kim went on to Essence magazine to do an interview where she talked about her reasoning for leaving Diddy. She even told Essence that one of her closest friends was pregnant by Diddy around the same time that Kim had been pregnant with Diddy's twins. Kim and Diddy stayed friends. They were good co-parents. She was found dead in 2018. Kim's cause of death was ruled as pneumonia. However, keep in mind, this woman was 47 years old. She had a history of good health. It was rumored that she had finished writing her book at the time. I think Kim's death wouldn't be considered so suspicious if it wasn't for the fact that 3 of her laptops were missing. The police said there was no robbery at her home, so where exactly were the laptops? I'll Be Sure, Quincy's dad and Kim's first baby daddy, did go to Instagram after her death, and he, in a now deleted post, said that he believed Diddy was involved in her death. He also said that he didn't believe it was pneumonia, he believed it was murder. For decades, it's been alleged that Diddy has been abusive to his girlfriends in the past, including Kim Porter, and this was confirmed by one of his past bodyguards. I have a couple videos on this. If you want to go watch them, they're on my page. In another now deleted Instagram post, I'll Be Sure posted a picture that he said Kim sent him of himself, Kim, and Quincy, and in the caption of the Instagram post, he said, "Kim was running, I told her to call the FBI." Let me know what y'all think about this. I find it really interesting that there's been a slew of other celebrities that have died of pneumonia. It seems like that's what Hollywood celebrities die of anytime that there's like a suspicious death. But I want to know what y'all think. I want to know like if you think that there's any merit to the idea that she was allegedly murdered. My name is Kim, and I would love it if you followed along so we can talk more pop culture.
Then there was Jennifer Lopez. Diddy and J-Lo started dating in 1999, and their romance quickly became one of the most talked about celebrity relationships. They were seen everywhere together, from red carpets to music videos. However, their relationship ended in 2001, reportedly due to Diddy's cheating and a high-profile nightclub shooting incident that put them both in legal trouble. J-Lo later moved on, stating that their relationship wasn't healthy for her. One of his longest and most complicated relationships was with Cassandra Ventura, better known as Cassie. They began dating in 2007 when Cassie was 19 and Diddy was 37. Their relationship was on and off for nearly a decade, with rumors of control issues and manipulations surfacing over time. In November 2023, Cassie publicly accused Diddy of rape and abuse throughout their relationship. Legal documents detailed how Diddy allegedly controlled her career and personal life after signing her to Bad Boy Records. Cassie later married Alex Fine and moved on from the toxic relationship.
Okay, so I had to come out of weekend retirement for this. If you haven't seen by now, there's been CCTV footage released about P. Diddy attacking Cassie. This was when Cassie was leaving the hotel room after P. Diddy had already attacked her. Sources are to say that she tried to flee the hotel room when he punched her in the face because he was inebriated. Apparently, he fell asleep, and when he was asleep, she tried to sneak out of the hotel room. This footage is so triggering for anyone that has been through domestic abuse, but the reason that I'm coming on and I'm talking about this is because of one very important thing. Cassie was leaving. Hear that correctly. Cassie was leaving Diddy's apartment hotel room. She was leaving. She was on her way out. She was on her way out at the lift when Diddy pulled her hair back, kicked her several times, and then threw multiple items at her. I want people to remember this. You have now had visual evidence of what happens when a victim tries to leave their perpetrator. So many times do we hear, why didn't you leave sooner? Why didn't you just leave? Why didn't you just run away? This is a visual representation of what hundreds of thousands, if not millions of victims go through on a regular basis when they try to flee. He did this, cool as a cucumber, knowing that the hotel would have CCTV. He did not care about the repercussions because all he was focused on was getting her to behave and getting her back into his hotel room. She tried to leave him and he wouldn't let her. This is the definition of if you don't hear, you must feel. You guys are not listening to us when we say it's not as easy as just walking away from abusers. So now you must feel. Now you must feel it with this video and actually deeply understand how dangerous it is to try and flee. It takes months, weeks, years of planning before somebody has the stability that they can actually leave. And for all of my survivors out there, the next time someone asks you why didn't you leave, just write P. Diddy. Mic drop it and walk away, because if they still don't get it after this point, they're never going to get it.
Diddy also had a relationship with Dana Tran, with whom he welcomed his youngest child, Love Sean Combs, in 2022. This surprised many, as Diddy was publicly dating Young Miami from City Girls at the time. While he never explicitly called Young Miami his girlfriend, they had a very public and affectionate relationship. She later confirmed that they had split but remained on good terms. Beyond his romantic relationships, Diddy also raised Quincy Brown, Kim Porter's son from a previous relationship. Though he never legally adopted him, he often referred to Quincy as his own and supported him in his career. For years, Diddy carefully maintained an image of being a loving father and devoted family man. He frequently shared moments with his children on social media, celebrating birthdays and special occasions. But behind closed doors, insiders told a different story. Reports surfaced of strained relationships, emotional distance, and manipulation. Former associates and partners described him as controlling, not only in business, but in his personal life as well. The picture-perfect family image started to crack as legal battles, custody fights, and disturbing allegations became public. Fame and fortune gave Diddy power, but they couldn't protect him from the truth. His relationships, once seen as his greatest strength, became part of the story that led to his public downfall. With more stories emerging and the once loyal fan base turning skeptical, the legacy of Sean Diddy Combs continues to unfold in a way few could have predicted.
Great, so if you did not know, Diddy has 7 kids. Yes, you heard that correctly, 7. He does have less than Nick Cannon, but he still has 7 kids nonetheless. Quincy is not his biological son, but he adopted Quincy when he was dating Kim Porter. Kim Porter is Quincy's mom, and she passed away in 2018. Kim Porter had her son Quincy with Albie Shore. Quincy with his mom, Kim Porter. His next 2 sons are Justin and Christian. Diddy had his son Justin with his then girlfriend Misa Hilton. This is a more recent photo of him. Christian Combs is Diddy and Kim Porter's first son together, and he now goes by the name King Combs. This is a photo of Christian Combs with his mom, the late Kim Porter. Diddy had his first daughter with Sarah Chapman. I don't believe they were dating at the time because he was still with Kim Porter, and Kim Porter was pregnant with her twins. This is Chance with her mom, Sarah Chapman. So yes, Chance was born in July 2006, and the twins were born in December of 2006. So they are very close since they are so close in age. So the twins are Jesse and Delilah, and Chance is in the middle. And I went on their social media, and it looks like they always wear the same outfit. The only picture I saw where they didn't wear the same outfit was when they did a photo shoot with the magazine, I believe. His youngest daughter is named Love Sean Combs, and he had his daughter with Dana Tran. So yep, those are his 7 kids. There is a group photo of almost...
I'd like to speak to Carisha, and I'm gonna tell you what. So I'm gonna talk about P. Diddy, okay? And it's gonna be gross. I read those legal documents.
what the defendants are saying P. Diddy did to them and what P. Diddy did to others. I found it on Twitter. If you want to find it, go read it. It reads like a horror story, and it's one of those. A part of me wishes I didn't read it. It is gross. It is very detailed. What's not the gross part about it is how it really shows you how insidious frooming is. Replace the F with a G. Okay? And how much of a predator Sean Combs is. Carisha is mentioned in this document as Sean Combs' alleged girlfriend. And people online are bugging the fuck out that in this document, it claims that Carisha does drugs with P. Diddy and that she's an SW. The old barter system, the oldest job in the world. I don't understand how you can listen to her music and be surprised. And then I thought, well, because maybe we were raised on Ja Rule. And Ja Rule used to talk about how he was out there in the world dealing and how rough and like how tough and how gangster he was and all that shit. And then later we found out, Jeffrey, that's not true. Jeffrey, that's not true. Somebody on Twitter said you act like she's young Oregon, young Salem, and not young Miami. And then also people clowning her for being an SW. What's that tweet? Somebody made fun of someone else for saying, I can't believe girls like are sugar babies. And then somebody said, yeah, but you're texting the text man for text. If you don't pay someone's rent, I don't give a fuck, okay? If you pay my rent, you can tell me what to do. If you pay a bill, you can tell me what to do. I really don't give a fuck. Get your money. What bothers me and what I need to know, Carisha, did you know if those girls were underage? Because that'll break my fucking heart. Have you seen a 16-year-old girl recently? You can't tell me that you don't know that that's a fucking teenager. Maybe an 18-year-old and you thought she was 21. Maybe. 16 years old. Underage girls. Hanging around. Just nastiness. Nastiness. Knowing that they're being drugged. I heard, maybe on Twitter or TikTok, I could not find it if I fucking tried, but somebody said men cheat according to their access to women. And she's talking about like famous people or like athletes, etc., etc. I think that wealthy men who have any kind of trauma, especially artists, like that ego that you have to adopt because you're constantly marketing yourself and you start to believe like that you're a genius in order to just like survive this like demonic industry. I think to be in music, you have to be a lunatic. It is so heart-wrenching. It sucks the soul out of you. I think men with access are dangerous. But Carisha's a woman. She's a woman. So I think that's what I would like people to focus on, you know? I'd like to speak to Carisha, and I'm gonna tell you what. So I'm gonna talk about P. Diddy, okay? And it's gonna be gross. I read those legal documents, what the defendants are saying P. Diddy did to them, and what P. Diddy did to others. I found it on Twitter. If you wanna find it, go read it. It reads like a horror story, and it's one of those, a part of me wishes I didn't read it. It is gross. It is very detailed. What's not, the gross part about it is how it really shows you how insidious frooming is. Replace the F with a G, okay? And how much of a predator Sean Combs is. Carisha is mentioned in this document as Sean Combs' alleged girlfriend. And people online are bugging the fuck out that in this document, it claims that Carisha does drugs with P. Diddy and that she's an SW. The old barter system, the oldest job in the world. I don't understand how you can listen to her music and be surprised. And then I thought, well, because maybe we were raised on Ja Rule. And Ja Rule used to talk about how he was out there in the world dealing and how rough and like how tough and how gangster he was and all that shit. And then later we found out, Jeffrey, that's not true. Jeffrey, that's not true. Somebody on Twitter said you act like she's young Oregon, young Salem, and not young Miami. And then also people clowning her for being an SW. What's that tweet? Somebody made fun of someone else for saying, I can't believe girls like are sugar babies. And then somebody said, yeah, but you're texting the text man for text. If you don't pay someone's rent, I don't give a fuck, okay? If you pay my rent, you can tell me what to do. If you pay a bill, you can tell me what to do. I really don't give a fuck. Get your money. What bothers me and what I need to know, Carisha, did you know if those girls were underage? Because that'll break my fucking heart. Have you seen a 16-year-old girl recently? You can't tell me that you don't know that that's a fucking teenager. Maybe an 18-year-old and you thought she was 21. Maybe. 16 years old. Underage girls hanging around. Just nastiness. Nastiness. Knowing that they're being drugged. I heard, maybe on Twitter or TikTok, I could not find it if I fucking tried, but somebody said men cheat according to their access to women, and she's talking about like famous people or like athletes, etc., etc. I think that wealthy men who have any kind of trauma, especially artists, like that ego that you have to adopt because you're constantly marketing yourself and you start to believe like that you're a genius in order to just like survive this like demonic industry. I think to be in music, you have to be a lunatic. It is so heart-wrenching. It sucks the soul out of you. I think men with access are dangerous. But Carisha's a woman. She's a woman. So I think that's what I would like people to focus on, you know?
Now, let's talk about the Diddy's parties. They were legendary in Hollywood and the music industry. They were known for their exclusivity. Only the biggest stars, models, and influencers were invited. From the outside, these gatherings seemed like a dream. Luxury estates, endless drinks, flashing lights, and music that never stopped. But those who got too close started noticing something wasn't right. Former associates have spoken out, claiming that these parties were more than just extravagant celebrations. Some have described them as places where guests were pressured into uncomfortable situations, with young women, sometimes underage, allegedly being lured in under the promise of fame, only to be manipulated and exploited. There were whispers of drugs, hidden rooms, and powerful people engaging in activities no one dared to speak about publicly. Some industry insiders have claimed that guests who witnessed disturbing behavior were quickly silenced or blacklisted. If someone spoke up, they risked losing their career, their reputation, or worse. For years, the rumors stayed within the industry, as few dared to challenge Diddy's influence. But now, with lawsuits and testimonies piling up, those secrets are no longer staying hidden. Beyond the parties, a pattern of alleged abuse started coming out. Women who had once been in relationships with Diddy or worked closely with him began speaking out, sharing horrifying accounts of mistreatment. One of the most shocking accusations came from singer Cassie, who filed a lawsuit claiming she endured years of control, physical abuse, and forced encounters. According to the lawsuit, Diddy didn't just manipulate her, he allegedly beat her, stalked her, and even trafficked her. The details were chilling. Claims of being forced into dangerous situations, of being monitored constantly, and of threats that kept her silent for years. And Cassie wasn't alone. Other women came forward, painting a picture of a man who used his power to control and intimidate. Reports surfaced of violent outbursts, women being physically harmed, and NDAs, which stands for non-disclosure agreements, being used to cover up incidents. Despite the accusations, for years, Diddy remained untouchable. He had powerful connections, endless resources, and an industry that often protected its most influential figures. But things started changing when legal action was taken. Once the first lawsuit was filed, more accusations followed. The image Diddy had built, of a fun-loving, business-savvy mogul, was beginning to crack. Perhaps the most damning accusations involve claims of sex trafficking. Lawsuits and testimonies suggest that Diddy not only exploited women, but may have been involved in something much larger. an organized system of trafficking and coercion. Some reports allege that women were brought to his parties under false pretenses, only to find themselves trapped in situations they couldn't escape. Former insiders have claimed that women were often drugged or forced into compromising positions, sometimes with powerful figures in attendance. There are allegations that security staff and associates ensured that nothing leaked to the outside world, covering up incidents that could have ended his career years ago. While investigations are still ongoing, the weight of these accusations is impossible to ignore. If proven true, they could not only destroy Diddy's legacy, but also expose a much larger network of abuse within the music industry.
And more bad news for Diddy. The mother of his oldest son, Justin, Misa Hilton, said that the video triggered her own trauma and that she understood what Cassie went through, basically saying that Diddy abused her also. The reason why that's so important is we know the feds are still in the middle of their investigation of very serious charges like trafficking. And the more women that feel comfortable coming forward because they don't think they're going to get trashed anymore in the media, as Cassie had been at the time, are going to be willing to come forward. And trust me, the feds are paying attention to all of it. And more bad news for Diddy. The mother of his oldest son, Justin, Misa Hilton, said that the video triggered her own trauma and that she understood what Cassie went through, basically saying that Diddy abused her also. The reason why that's so important is we know the feds are still in the middle of their investigation of very serious.
In March 2024, federal agents raided Diddy's luxurious homes in both Los Angeles and Miami. This wasn't some quiet, low-key investigation. This was a full-scale, heavily armed federal operation. Helicopters hovered over his multi-million-dollar mansions, tactical agents stormed the properties, and law enforcement carried out boxes of evidence, some of which would leave the public absolutely stunned. One of the most weird and disturbing discoveries was the 1,000 bottles of baby oil found in his possession. Now, baby oil itself isn't illegal, but having that much of it? In the context of the disturbing accusations being thrown at Diddy, it immediately raised eyebrows. What was it for? What was really happening behind the closed doors of his infamous parties? People online began speculating wildly. And honestly, can you blame them? There were also narcotics, including ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB. Diddy, who once seemed untouchable, was now sitting in one of the worst federal prisons in Brooklyn. After the raid, authorities didn't waste time. He was arrested and denied bail. Prosecutors argued that he was a serious flight risk, considering his massive wealth, international connections, and the severity of the accusations against him. If Diddy wanted to run, he had the resources to do it. But now, behind bars, he had nowhere to go. And then came another shocking twist. His own lawyer quit. One of Diddy's top attorneys, Anthony Rico, suddenly resigned from the case. His exact words, "Under no circumstances can I continue." Now, that's not normal. Lawyers don't just walk away from high-profile clients, especially when they're being paid millions to defend them. But something about this case made Rico step back. So what did he see? What evidence was he presented with that made him say, "I'm out"? The speculation online was immediate. Some believed Rico saw evidence that proved Diddy was guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt. Others thought maybe the case was too big, too messy, and too toxic to handle. Whatever the reason, it was clear Diddy's legal team was crumbling.
Sorry, have you not seen the news about Diddy? No, wait a minute. So Diddy's got a sex trafficking case, and one of his lawyers said, I cannot continue to do this trial. I cannot continue to represent this man. Sorry, this same lawyer, what's his name? Anthony Rico. Anthony Rico. I'm gonna put the TH in there. Anthony Rico. The same man who represented Bin Laden, Osama Bin Laden, against the US government. He finished that trial. But he can't finish this trial? Oh, Diddy. Diddy? Yes, he fucking did. Yes, he fucking did. Diddy. The man said, I cannot continue. Whatever he has seen. Those of you that were going to the parties, pack your bags. You're next. You're up next, bruv.
That's it for today's video. I'm sure more info will come out on this topic soon, and who knows, Diddy might be connected to more than we think. Anyway, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable.